Hello and welcome to another episode of The Week Gone By. I'm Shafi Siddiqui and I'll give you a brief of all the news that has happened in South Asia in the last week. The week saw history being rewritten when the head of the Nobel Prize Committee placed the 2010 Peace Prize on the empty seat of Chinese dissident Liu Xiaobo during the last week, which unfortunately built up to be neither Nobel nor peaceful. While the Nobel Committee announced Liu Xiaobo as this year's Peace Prize winner, and activists have started honoring him, this 54-year-old literary critic still spends his day behind bars. After being held in an unknown location by Chinese authorities for 10 months, Liu was sentenced last Christmas Day to 11 years in prison for inciting subversion. Liu had dedicated the Nobel Peace Prize to the people caught up in the events of 1989. On the other hand, his supporters say that this award will surely carry his name and his call for democracy to a wider audience, especially among the young Chinese.
The Chinese government reiterated its call during the last week for countries to boycott Friday's Nobel Peace Prize ceremony, though it refrained from saying whether India's expected attendance would have any impact on the bilateral relations. India was among the 46 nations, including the US, UK and France, which attended the ceremony. However, New Delhi made it clear that this should not be allowed to have any impact on its relationships with Beijing.
He is joining us. A majestic tuxedo.
Also shortly after the Nobel Peace Prize was given to the jailed Chinese dissident, the Chinese government slammed the decision to honor him as a Cold War mentality and insulated the country by blacking out international news channels besides putting his supporters behind bars. China demonstrated its cyber might and shut down all conceivable international news channels and websites, including those from Norway, to keep the 1.3 billion Chinese people off the ceremony conferring the coveted prize to Liu. The Chinese police also surrounded the home of the wife of Peace Prize winner just before the award was due to be bestowed on the imprisoned writer. Uniformed officers guarded the entrance to the compound in which Liu Xia lives. Her phone was also cut off and friends, family and colleagues were placed under house arrest or tight surveillance and were even forbidden to leave the country. Finally, the jailed Chinese dissident was honored on Friday with the Nobel Peace Prize. Many exiled Chinese dissidents, ambassadors, Norwegian royals and other dignitaries attended the function and gathered around an empty chair to hail Xiaobo, a writer and Tiananmen Square activist. During the ceremony, the Nobel Committee chairman, Thorp Johan Jagland, moreover said that the award was not anti-China and the panel's intention was never to offend anyone. Jagland also asserted that Xiaobo was a symbol of non-violent struggle for human rights and must be released.
But as the politicians of the country continued their fistfights throughout the week, it was the ghats of Varanasi that witnessed a horrible blast which took the life of a baby girl. Well, it wasn't only India that remained terrorized throughout the week. Pakistan also witnessed a series of suicide blasts that killed scores of innocent civilians.
The little girl would have celebrated her first birthday on December 18, but she died in her mother's lap when a blast ripped through the packed old Dasaswamed Ghat on Tuesday evening last week. Furthermore, a railing also collapsed in a stampede that followed the blast, which contributed to other injuries. Reports suggest that an improvised explosive device was also recovered from a metal dustbin at the Varanasi blast site. And it was the terror outfit Indian Mujahideen that claimed responsibility for the blast in emails sent to the media houses. On the other hand, at least 5 people were killed by a car bomb near a hospital in northwest Pakistan later last week. The police stated that as many as 18 people were also injured by the blast in the Shia Muslim-dominated Hangu district. It was the 4th major suicide attack during the past week in Pakistan. On Monday, 2 bombers killed more than 40 people as they attacked an anti-Taliban militiamen and pro-government elders in Mohmand. On Tuesday, a suicide attacker reportedly tried to assassinate the Chief Minister of Pakistan's southwestern province of Balochistan. And on Wednesday, a bomber blew himself up near a minibus in the nearby town of Kohat, killing at least 16 people.
Now, during the past week, Pakistan and Turkey also signed 17 memorandums of understandings. The MOUs covered a vast range of sectors including trade, defence, tourism, culture and military.
Addressing a joint news conference following the signing ceremony, Pakistan Prime Minister Syed Yusuf Raza Gilani and his Turkish counterpart Tayyip Erdogan vowed to continue the cooperation between the two countries. Both the leaders also stated that the friendly ties would be further strengthened with the passage of time. The government of Pakistan has also decided to allow visa on arrival for 30 days to all Turkish nationals who possess valid United States or United Kingdom visas. Gilani also invited Turkish businessmen to explore Pakistan's business potential by investing in energy, oil and gas sectors. He moreover added that the bilateral trade volume of around $782 million did not reflect the potential and opportunities that existed between the two countries. And he also mentioned that economic liberalization, deregulation and privatization in a transparent manner still remain the core principles of the economic reform agenda in Pakistan.
And it's now time to check out stories from Bangladesh, where a speeding train slammed into another moving slowly through a station in eastern Bangladesh, killing as many as 19 people and injuring scores.
The force of the impact threw the cars of one train on top of the other, and other cars veered off the track in the head-on collision. One express train was travelling from Dhaka to the southern port city of Chittagong, while the other one was making the reverse journey when they collided on Wednesday in Narsingi district, about 25 miles east of Dhaka. Railway officials fled the area after the crash as angry crowds descended on the station, according to Benazir Ahmed, another witness. However, the train movement resumed at Narsingi station from around midday on Friday, 43 hours after the deadly incident. Now a rescue hydraulic crane removed the two engines for repair around afternoon on Friday. Unguarded level crossing, frequent mechanical and human failures, dilapidated rail tracks and outdated signalling system were the main reasons behind 590 rail accidents this year. Bangladesh Railway statistics stated that some 51 persons died while another 149 were injured in the accidents, including the latest Narsingi incident. The recent train accident was considered the biggest head-on collision in 10 years. Statistics showed that this year the number of derailments is significantly high, but the majority of the deaths occurred at unguarded and unauthorized level crossings. As many as 53 accidents occurred this year at level crossings around the country, killing about 22 people.
In the Himalayan nation, the high-level task force agreed that Nepal is a sovereign, multilingual, multicultural and multi-ethnic country. The 7-member task force that was formed on October 11th to narrow down differences on constitutional issues has agreed to replace multinational with multi-ethnic.
The task force so far has settled more than 60 out of 210 thorny issues. Dev Prasad Gurung of the UCPNM and Ramesh Lekhak of the Nepali Congress has said that the meeting of the task force had settled as many as 13 contentious issues related to defining nation and state. The UCP and Maoist and Jan Morcha have also been asking for some adjustment in the flag, while other parties demanded that it should be kept the same. Although it is mandated to settle all the issues by December 11, the completion of the task is unlikely in the wake of parties' reluctance to focus on task force meetings. Moreover, the political parties, including the Big Three, agreed to adopt the Public-Private Partnership or PPP economic model in the new constitution. This agreement was reached during a meeting of the high-level task force formed to resolve the contentious issues pending at various thematic committees in the Constituent Assembly. NC lawmaker Ramesh Lekhak had reportedly said that the UCP and Maoist had accepted the proposal put forward by the NC and CPN-UML to adopt a new economic policy to bring about an economic development of the country.
After all those stories from Nepal, it's time to check out stories from Sri Lanka, where a court has postponed the decision whether the video footage on former army commander and DNA leader Sarath Fonseca's speech could be considered as evidence or not. The Colombo High Court said that it would further decide on December 16th this year whether the video footage handed in by the private television channel could be accepted as evidence in the case against Fonseca. The respective video footage is believed to have evidence required in the controversial case against Fonseca that is currently being heard in the Colombo High Court. We will now wrap up this edition of the week gone by here. I'll be back again next week with more news and updates from across South Asia. Till then, goodbye and keep watching TV South Asia.